Hi, Shirley. Hi, all. Oh, did something just go wrong here? I'm not sure if you guys can hear me, but I hope you can. It's saying it's live, so I hope that's okay. Anyways, oh my goodness, all these notifications are coming up. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me because it's saying I'm live and have been for 10 seconds, so I apologize for the rambling already. Okay, so first things first, thanks Sean, thanks Shirley, thanks AO for having me on here. Super thankful for the opportunity. I love mentorship. I love dealing with new startup entrepreneurs, young professionals. It's a super fun thing for me, and I'm super thankful for the opportunity. So we have some great questions. I'm super looking forward to getting through these, and I hope I can be of any help. To any of them. And if anybody has any further questions, please reach out. First things first. First question is from Liv Gruber, and her question is, how do you pay yourself from your business? I'm going to start paying myself, and I want to know the best way to do so. Should I be paid as a W-2 employee, a 1099 contractor, or is there another strategy? Our company is an LLC. Okay, so for our Canadian guests that are watching, a W-T would just be or W-2 would just be a regular T4 salaried employee, and a 1099 contractor would be just a subcontractor that I believe is a T4A. And an LLC is obviously just an incorporation. So Liv, if I were in your shoes, and just like myself, I would definitely pay yourself as a W-2. The reason being is if you pay yourself small enough, or just an average amount, don't go crazy. Don't start paying yourself $200,000 right off the hop. But if I were in your shoes, I would definitely pay yourself as a W-2 employee. And the reason being is it's going to be a tax write-off for you. It's going to give you a steady cash flow into your personal account or anything like that. It's going to help you be able to get a loan, a car loan for your personal use, and it'll help you build that, employment. So if you're looking at getting a mortgage, at least then it'll show that you're employed by such and such company. You have a T4, you have pay stubs, stuff like that. My only suggestion is to, one, ensure that your company can afford to do so. So afford your weekly or biweekly pay, the payroll remittances and source deductions that you need to pay to the government, and that your company can afford the taxes that go along with that. I would definitely recommend the W-2 employee. As the 1099 contractor, things may get a little bit sticky when it comes to the government. And the reason being is you're already getting a bunch of write-offs, being one, an LLC, and having, tax write-offs and tax benefits for being an LLC. So if you start looking at yourself as a subcontractor through your company already, and almost trying to get double the write-offs and double the benefits, it may cause a problem for the IRS or the Canadian government. So that's my recommendation. I hope that's helpful. I'm sure there's a bunch of accountants or a bunch of legal people here that can help you with that, but that's what I would do if I were in your shoes. Okay, next question from Michelle. What are the most important pieces that you must have implemented in your business before making your first hire? Is a company handbook needed before the first hire, and what else would be necessary? So the background of the question is, I own a holiday, wedding, and event lighting company. I'm looking to hire another person to help install lights at our client's home or business. I want to make sure we have everything in place before making the first hire. Okay, great question. So I wish I had this platform when I was first starting my company. And the reason being is these things often get overlooked. So I'm proud of you for noticing that you need to get these things in place. Definitely start with an employee handbook. So, write down all of your expectations for that job description, write down all of the things that job is, needs to do. And the reason I say that is if you hire that person without these things and you just say, okay, you install lights, that person may think, great, I'll just go on site and then install lights. Then your company starts growing. And then expectations are changing. Then you've become a luxury wedding designer and all of these things. And so your light installer may be the best light installer, but they could be a very unprofessional person. They could be very rude. Who knows? And you don't want that in your business. So if you lay out those expectations before hiring, and they come on site and they come into your office and you go, here's the employee manual, here's the handbook, this is what you need to do, then at least then it's all out on the table. And if they can't do that and you have to fire them or you have to, get rid of them for whatever reason, at least you can do so without any backlash. And again, I wish I would have done that, because now, or not now, but when I first started my business, people came in because I needed the help, but then all of a sudden my expectations were changing and I needed to then say, listen guys, and some of them weren't okay with it and they had to get fired. So definitely smart. And then putting the company handbook aside, make sure your legals are in place. So your workers' comp, are they going to be an employee, a subcontractor, any of those things that obviously you need to do for that. But then also in your company handbook, make sure that all of that is listed as well, written out. This is what you are, this is how it's going to go, your pay structure, how they're going to get there, all of their things. You need to put that into place. And you can dumb down your company handbook as dummy proof as possible. So you can put in there little sections about how to deal with a client. I'm just trying to think, when I first started, I had in my employee handbook, after I figured out that I needed to do so, what would they do if a client came home? How to deal with that. Some people freeze up, they get nervous, anxiety kicks in. And so they need to know how to deal with that. And if a client was to come home, or, your client was to come in and say, hey man, how's it going? You want to make sure that they're going to deal with that and represent your company well. So those are things that you need to put into place and write out. And you can never give enough information in an employee handbook or an employee manual. So I hope that helps in any way. The next question, and I love this question. So Ashley, who also has her own cleaning company, so super exciting. So her question is, any advice on developing a product line? Her background is, I own a cleaning company and had an opportunity to create eco-friendly cleaning products. I have no idea what to expect or what to plan for. Looking for any generic advice. Okay, this is a big one. So first things first, you need to sit back and think about how you're going or what your plan is with this potential product line. And the reason I say that is, your bread and butter and your main business is service. Retail and products are a whole different ballgame. So if you're just going to implement a product line to benefit your company, and your cleaners use it, and you're going to cut back on a little bit of price and budget on cleaning supplies because now you have your own and it's a little bit cheaper because it's wholesale, things like that, great. It's still a lot of work, but it's not as much as basically opening a whole other business. So you worked so hard to create this great service, that you provide this great service for your clients, the commercial side, the residential side, but now you're going to step into and research and have to put all of your time, money, energy into a product line. And so if you're planning on selling this in a retail space, or even offering it to your clients, you need to, and this is, if I were in your shoes, because again, this is something that I had to learn the hard way, make sure your business has the means for you to step away, because you don't want to fail at either. And if you step away from your service side of things, can your business run without you? Then if you can't, and you're trying to produce a product line as well as run the service side of things, your product line is going to fail. So you really need to think about that. Make sure you're at a good place in your service side of things before you step into a secondary business, because that's technically what it is. Same brand, same kind of industry, but totally different business structure. So please sit back and do your research when it comes to that stuff, because it is a lot of work. I also did do my own product line. I'd be happy to answer any further questions. I know there's so much we could talk about. So if you do want to get together for 15 minutes over coffee on a Zoom, reach out to Shirley or Sean, and we can set that up. That's no problem at all. But there's definitely a lot to think about before just hopping right into a product line. It's a great opportunity, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of things to work on prior to that. So I hope that helps, and looking forward to connecting with you further on that department. Okay, the next question is Carrington. So Carrington has a commercial product photography company, which I think is great, and I checked it out on Instagram this morning. So super wonderful. And her question is guest posting a suitable way to market your business? So for those of you that don't know what guest posting is, it's kind of like guest blogging, I guess. So the background of her business is, again, I'm a commercial product photographer where I provide companies with photography for e-commerce, marketing, social media. I have been looking into marketing techniques and came across guest posting, which I had not heard of before. I wasn't sure if this is something that is worth trying and continuing to look into, or if there are alternative marketing techniques you suggest to broaden your audience. Okay, marketing, my favorite thing. Okay, so if I were in your shoes, you can always experience and experiment so many different marketing techniques. There are hundreds out there. They're all very important. Marketing is the most important thing, but some techniques work better than others for certain industries. If I'm being honest, I'm not familiar with guest posting. I don't use it and I haven't used it. But that being said, it could work for your industry. Have you done your research on other photographers using that as a technique? I'm not saying it's definitely not something to look into because it could work. That being said, if you do go to use it, don't give it 2 days and then give up. Be consistent. That's very important when it comes to marketing. You want to create that content and do it often. So then your viewers and your audience are seeing that regular and they're enjoying it. You want to engage with them, and that's the whole point of marketing. That being said, I'm a huge social media advocate for marketing for business. My company, it works great for. So again, I checked out your Instagram. It's very nice, very pretty. I recommend, and if I were in your shoes, amping it up a little. So you have great content. Your pictures are stunning. Take people behind the scenes, do some reels, do some videos, do some stories. People like to be engaged, and I think sometimes that sells people more. So for example, have I ever thought about hiring a commercial product photographer for my cleaning company product line? Definitely not, because I can do it myself. But that being said, if I were looking on my Instagram and I saw a reel that came up about the process of, how you do it or how you edit them or how you take it from this to this, people love processes. People love before and afters. You're going to engage those people and build relationships with those people, and that's marketing. And that is engaging your clients on social media. You're basically building a relationship with that client without even knowing it. So for me, now that I've seen your work and thought about it, and I'm going, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I will hire a commercial photographer, yourself, somebody to do my product line. And I never would have thought about that before. So if I were to see things like that on social media, I think that would be very beneficial for you. In regards to the guest posting, again, I'm not familiar with it, but don't knock it. It could be phenomenal for your business, just like social media is for ours. If you get client reviews, post them, things like that. When it comes to that. So give guest posting a try and let us know how it goes in a couple of months. Again, you need to be consistent and you need to give it a chance because, you need to build that relationship with those clients, whether it's guest posting or marketing on social media or anything like that. So let us know how that goes. I'm sorry I couldn't be more help on the guest posting, but marketing is very important. And give social media, amp it up a little bit, introduce yourself, be behind the scenes. Show people how it's done, and I can guarantee it'll definitely help, especially when people are excited to see your reels and your stories, and the end results are on your page, but they want to see what's going on behind. So I hope that helps. Okay, next question is from Kristen. She said, oh my God, what do you do when a client has not paid the remaining balance from a project completed over 2 months ago? So, the background of the question is I am a copywriter for online entrepreneurs. I completed a website copy for a client. She paid 50% upfront but has not paid the last 50%. She does not answer my DMs or emails. So, Kristen writes sales copy for online coaches launching products and services who want to grow their business through persuasive writing. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, this is a tough one. Okay, so if I were in your shoes, because I've had this plenty of times before where we have big projects and people will pay their deposits or half of it and then say, oh, we'll pay you the rest another time, and it doesn't happen. So, first of all, I would not personally deal with this through DM or email at this point. So, obviously, you have sent further DMs, further emails about this issue. I think it's time for a letter. Whereby you're going to give her a certain amount of time. So, okay, I'm just trying to think of what I've done before. So, for example, I had a builder that was not paying the remainder of their money. You have to think, is this worth going to court, small claims court, collection services, because they'll take a portion? You know, if it's maybe a couple $100s, it may not be worth it. Yes, it sucks. And I know you want to teach principle because that's what I'm like. But again, it's going to cost you more to do so. But if it's, on a big amount of money, I would take this further if I were in your position. I would write her a letter, and maybe some of the lawyers that are watching can attest to this, but I would maybe write something along the lines of, Dear such and such client, there's an outstanding balance of whatever it may be, and it has been outstanding since blah, blah, blah. You want to make sure you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted in something like this in case it does go further. You want to make sure that you bring up any evidential facts. So say that it hasn't been paid since whatever. You've sent email on this, message on this day, email on this day, and still no response. I would then say, I'm giving you until, give her a date, net 30, 60 if you want. It's totally up to you and how you run your business. But give her a timeline and say, we appreciate your prompt payments of whatever amount owing, paid on July 1st, 2021. If this payment has not been made by then, we will be taking this further with legal proceedings or with our law firm, etc., etc. That being said, don't threaten legal if you don't have the means to get a lawyer to write a letter for you. Because then your threat or your letter doesn't really, stand behind itself when you say that. So, reach out to a lawyer. I'm sure it probably costs a couple $100s. You can get a lawyer to write up a letter, basically the same thing, but they're standing behind you. A lot of the time when they get a letter from a lawyer, it kind of scares them and they go, oh, we better pay this. Because they're pushing you right now and they're taking advantage, unfortunately, and it is what it is. It's part of doing business. That being said, some clients, they don't care what legal stuff comes their way, what lawyers come their way. They are professional scammers, unfortunately. So I would start with a letter. Maybe, if you're not comfortable with putting anything about legal in there, just write a letter. Basically demanding the money again. Don't put it through Instagram, don't put it through email at this point. Write a formal letter, and hopefully that resolves it. And maybe just, like I said, speak to a lawyer if it's worth it in that regard. So I hope that helps. I know how frustrating it can be. I've had those same instances, and fortunately for me, once I have brought in our lawyer to write a letter, we have received the money. But sometimes it does take a little bit more. And again, you have to look at it like, is it worth going to court? Is it worth getting collection agencies involved? Things like that. So have a think on that. But unfortunately, it's part of business and it sucks that there's people out there like that. So I hope that helps. Okay, next question. Heather Brockman. So Heather has asked, what are some good responses when your employees are constantly saying how tired they are? Comparing themselves to you is saying they aren't robots like me. So the background of the question is my groomers work 4 days as a full-time shift, and most of the time they have 10-hour days. Most have a bather. I think that's a bather with them. I get so tired of hearing how tired they are all of the time. I lay out the potential for them to make more money than any other company in Houston. Yet all I hear is how overworked they are. It irritates me to no end hearing it on a daily basis and them having to tell me I'm not you, Heather. I don't ask them to do anything I wouldn't or haven't done. And in fact, they do less dogs than I ever did when I was working. So my responses are getting snappy. Does anyone else deal with this? And what are some good ways to counteract this lazy attitude? Oh God. Um, okay, I totally know where you're coming from on this. So, oh, how am I going to go about this? There's two ways to this. um, okay. Heather, you have to remember, as sad as it is, and I get it, I deal with it on a daily basis, even though I have such a great company and such a great company morale and staff, they still, it's still there. You have to remember no employee has or will or ever have the same amount of passion for the industry or business that you're in than you do or have. Just like yourself, when you were grooming dogs prior to growing your company, I were also cleaning houses 24 hours a day. Um, and so I've had the odd staff member say to me, oh, like all you do is sit in an office all day. So I get it. I totally get it 100%. So you do have to remember that. Otherwise, if it's getting to the point where it is every day and they're constantly making these comments, I mean, if I were in your shoes or your position in this industry, I mean, you have to step back and think like, okay, do you hate your job? Is this just a moneymaker for you? Um, I'm not sure what processes you have in place in your company or how far along you are, but I would maybe meet with them and discuss with them, what can I do as a leader, as the company owner to make your days better? I've been doing this for 5 years now, and once a week we have Zoom calls where we are discussing with the team. We discuss with our managers, and I'm very active in these calls. And I go, guys, like, what can I do as me, as Danielle, to help your days be better? I mean, they're cleaning houses 12 hours a day, like it's not easy work, just like grooming. So I get where this is coming from, but to a lot of them, it is just a paycheck. But then that also doesn't mean that they can come in and bring toxic energy to your company. At the end of the day, you hold the reins to how your company is going and what is coming into your company. So if I were in your position, and I have been in your position, I would meet with them and say, we are going to document that you keep saying this. It's bringing negative energy and toxic energy to the workforce. And I'm sure maybe it started with one of your groomers, and then it's just gotten worse and worse and worse because other groomers have heard it and they think, well, if she can get away with it, I'm going to get away with it. And we're just going to sit and bitch all day. You don't want that. Like I said, it then rubs off on the clients. It then rubs off on you. Obviously, you're picking up on that. It's making you snappy. Please try not to snap. I know how hard it is. But I would definitely sit down with one of them or whoever it is, and first of all, try to resolve it on your end. So maybe they're picking up that you're frustrated and it's making them more frustrated. Um, ask them first, what can I do to make your days better? Maybe they need a day off, another day off. Maybe they need a long weekend off. And I know that it's a pain in the butt when people take time off because, again, we have to deal with that all of the time. But maybe offer them, take a mental health day, take 3 days off, go on a long weekend. Yes, it's going to be a pain in the butt for you because you're going to have to reschedule some things or work a little harder, but sometimes they need to see that. I don't know if you do employee appreciation or anything like that, but make sure how they know how much they're appreciated and how hard their work is. And even myself, again, there's days where I have employees call me and bitch that they're tired, or, they only slept 3 hours last night and, they need the afternoon off. And a part of me wants to write back and go, yeah, I hear you. I was up till 2 a.m., figuring out this contract and this and that and this and that. So I hear you, how tired I am. But you can't compare with them, because to them, you own the company, you're already on that high level. They already kind of have a little bit of resentment, and unfortunately, it's very true. They could love you as a person, but at the end of the day, you're still their boss. People just usually have a little bit of resentment for their boss. Um, so I would recommend sitting down with them, talking to them first, seeing how, what you can do to help them not be so tired, if there's anything you can do. If it doesn't improve after that conversation, I would then have to then bite the bullet and maybe write them up. I don't know what level your company is at. I don't know if you do kind of like HR or anything like that, but I would discuss with them, like, listen, we've tried on our end. It's time for you to pull the weight. If you don't like your job, we'll help you find another job. I've had to deal with that too. Or just say to them, listen, we don't like your toxic energy here. We're going to have to write you up, or we can do this to help you further along. You need to come up with a solution for them, because at the end of the day, if you don't, they're constantly going to think that you're just working them and that you're a slave driver. So that's what I would do. I would sit with them first and talk to them about that. But it's definitely something we could talk about for hours and hours and hours, because it's common in that employment, and boss kind of mentality and work relationship. So I hope that helps, but definitely try to come up with a solution for them, or you do something to help them, because then they'll see that you're trying to help them without getting mad at them. So I hope that helps. One more question on this page. Okay. So another question from Ashley. Ashley, you're killing it. Thanks for reaching out. Sean actually said the other day that the women in this group are reaching out and asking all the questions. So way to go, girl. Here to help you at any time. So Ashley's question is, how should I connect with home builders so I don't come off as spammy? The background of the question is, I own a residential and commercial cleaning company, and I've been developing a master list of home builders and their construction/new build locations in the Ottawa area. I want to start reaching out to them, offering my services, and secure my spot on their bid list. Okay, this is great, girl. You are totally killing it. This is amazing. Okay, so I don't know how you're implementing this now, or how you're developing this list now, or how you're even going about getting these clients now. I would recommend not just sending an email, or not just, reaching out on social media. That is spammy. Don't send an Instagram post or a message and go, hey, we want to do your cleaning. So reach out to us. I don't think that's going to be helpful at all. But that being said, you've developed a great list. So I know with COVID, it's really difficult to do in person or, on-site meetings, but you can always go into a head office. I mean, construction right now is open. So you can always go into an office and, you want to speak with a manager, you want to speak with a project developer or project manager. And literally, you just have to go out there. You can also send an email and get through the chain of people. So, like, for example, I bought a condo in a new development area, and I thought, oh, cool, I'm going to get this contract because it was a rental. So I wanted that further business from them. So I emailed the decor lady that I was dealing with to outfit the condo, and I sent her an email that said, hey, Wendy, I've been thinking about this project. I would love to get my hands on this. I'm not sure if you remember, but I do commercial, residential, new construction cleaning. I would love to work on this project. It's near and dear to my heart. Show the passion. They love it. Could you please help me get in touch with the right people for this potential opportunity? So she responded with, yeah, no problem. Here is the decor manager. So we had to go through a few people, but eventually I got to the project manager for that site. And they said, yeah, no worries. That's great. We need to get 3 bids, like 3 quotes for a project. And so I was one of them, and we actually got it. Was it uncomfortable? Yes, because I was purchasing one of those. So it was a little, a cliche and a little bit close to home, but it was definitely worth it. And I've also had one before that was another subdivision going into near my place. And I went in and walked right on site, and I found their little hut trailer thing that the project manager and the guys have their lunch in. It was very uncomfortable. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was walking right in on site. I had a full suit on, and I walked in and I just, hi, my name's Danielle. I own a commercial, residential, new construction cleaning company. We focus mainly on new construction, and we would love to work on this project. Who can I discuss with? And don't get me wrong, my heart was beating so fast. You're standing there with 7 or 8 men selling, and a lot of guys, they can be a little bit judgmental, so I totally get it. But it worked, and I ended up getting that contract as well. And so the biggest thing in business is you have to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. And so that's how I've went about all of my new contracts for new development. I've went on site, I've, found the right people to email, and I've just done a little bit of digging. And another thing I would also recommend that I had to do with one, because I had an insight from another person that was working on there, is I showed up with a proposal already. So, I did my research on the project already, and got some numbers, put together a proposal, showed up on site with my proposal ready. And I said, hey, I'd love to do this. These are my numbers. I'd be happy to sit down and discuss with the right people about how we can, make this happen. And sometimes, you negotiate, that's part of business as well. But at least when you're there with a proposal, it looks like you're ready. You're going in and you're going, I'm ready to start now. This is what I've come to, with. These are my numbers. Let's kind of go. And it worked. So I would definitely stay away from that spammy, LinkedIn messages, Instagram messages, things like that. Get your list from Instagram by any means. A lot of custom home builders have great Instagrams, but kind of follow them around and see where they're going to be. Show up on site, discuss with them, email. And don't just email like, hey, I want to put in a bid for your project. Come at them with purpose, come at with them with a plan, a solution, something that's going to be appealing to them when it comes to this project. So I hope that has helped in regards to that. Ashley again. See, this is great. Ashley's next question is, should I do Groupons or Facebook ads? So again, she's a residential and commercial cleaning company. She says, I have done Groupon in the past, and it generated about $400 a week for me in revenue. However, Groupon takes 17% of the already discounted sale. It did then become regular clients that I was able to upsell. Sorry, this is kind of printed weird, so I apologize. I'm green when it comes to running my own Facebook ads, and the quotes that I have gotten from Facebook ads experts, I think that's supposed to say, are a little out of my budget and only a lead. Okay, great question again, Ashley. Okay, so I did check out your cleaning company as well, so it looks great. Congratulations on your success there. Personally, I don't do Groupon or Facebook ads. There's a fine line between, paying for quality ads or lead generators, but then at the same time, if you utilize and put your already great reputation in the right processes and in the right hands, you won't have to pay so much for ads. So I noticed that when I searched your name on Google, your company name on Google, and again, with me being in this industry, I wish I would have done this sooner. So please take my advice when I say this. Get familiar with Google. I focused solely on Facebook when I first started my company, because that was the thing. And Facebook was great, but it was very local. So, when you share something, it's kind of local. When you do something, it's kind of local, and your friends see it and the people that like your page see it. But it's really difficult to get a lot of traction on your Facebook page unless you do something that makes people share and like and share and like and share and like. Um, so if I were you, I would focus on getting out there on Google. Google, I think, does charge a little bit for your Google domain and or not your domain, your Google Suite and your Google Ads, but it's definitely cheaper than Facebook. It's definitely, I mean, I can't speak for Groupon. I've never used Groupon before. So I'm not sure if it's cheaper or not than Groupon, but it sounds like you're not having the greatest success with Groupon. So I would definitely venture into something different. And Google is always great. I've had so many clients call me personally and say that if it wasn't for our Google to come up, they wouldn't have found our site. So they've Googled, for example, cleaning services Toronto, and our page didn't necessarily come up because how many cleaning businesses are in Toronto, whether they're small, one person, or huge, 100 people. But on Google, when you get into those Google ads and those Google My Business, that's what it's called. Sorry, Google My Business. When you get into Google My Business, you come up as a headline, and your reviews are there, your website's there, where you're located is there, and those are all very important things. And so I don't know what you use for your booking system, but Google is very amazing at things like this because they bring in so many different alliance companies, whereby, for example, the booking process and app system that we use actually integrates with Google. And so when people click on our Google link, they don't even have to go through our company information anymore. They can just click on there, get in touch with our managers and our booking team, and they book them right away. So it's very quick, very efficient. And people love seeing that 5-star review on Google. If I would have started Google 3 years ago, I would probably have had, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of positive reviews. Unfortunately, I only learned about Google about a year and a half ago. Not that I didn't learn about it, I didn't utilize it because I was in the same boat as you. Facebook and Instagram, biggest things. So we pushed the Google My Business, we pushed to get those 5-star reviews. And that has worked for us, and it's much cheaper and it's much more effective and efficient for your business through Google My Business. So I hope that helps. Check that out. I believe if you just type in Google My Business, set up your business on there, and then you can set everything up, and it'll start rolling, and add that onto your email signature and your Facebook page, and get people on there. And even you can start a little campaign and put in your Facebook page like, hey guys, we've just launched on Google My Business. If you've had a great experience with diamond cleaning services, please leave us a 5-star review. It would help us build our traction on Google. So I hope that helps when it comes to that, as well as your next question with what's the best way to generate leads. Once people start seeing that, the 5 stars, the traction, and again, like I was saying to one of the other questions earlier, once people start seeing that consistency, it's kind of top of mind, and that's what people need. For example, obviously we're a bigger cleaning company in our area, so we actually do radio. Not that we get clients from radio, but people in our community, because we do so much, giving back and philanthropy stuff through the company in town. People love hearing our name. It's building that trust, and again, it's like you're building that relationship with one client, 10 clients, your community, whatever your goal is. So repetitive consistency, whether it's Facebook, Google, Instagram, radio, newspaper. I mean, I don't recommend newspaper, but you know what I mean? As long as your mediums are consistent, then that's the most important thing. So I hope that helps there. Okay, next question. This is so fun. I love doing this. Thanks, Sean and Shirley, for having me in here. Next question from AJ. How to begin training my first hire? Okay, so this question is, hey, Sean and mentors. First question here from me. Congratulations, AJ. I'm not sure how long you've been here with AO, but it's an amazing platform. And to any new entrepreneurs, I wish I had this platform when I first started out. So super happy you guys are taking advantage of this. Um, so I'm about 8 months into the entrepreneurial journey, and I'm quickly learning that I don't have the time or bandwidth to accomplish everything. My business is a growth agency that includes web development, and I've had a skilled friend working on a project by project basis for the last 6 months. We're financially at the point to support hiring him part-time. Congratulations, that's a huge milestone. And I'm excited to be training him to do many of the low value tasks that are currently on my plate. But I'm also nervous about this as I know that many first hires don't work out well. I've also seen how a training process can make or break someone who would otherwise be a good team member. I'd really appreciate input on what you've learned relating to this topic. Okay, great question. You are right. Training makes or breaks. I've seen, heard, and witnessed before that management and training and all of those things and processes are what keeps or gets rid of an employee. So you could pay a lot of money. Eventually, poor management, poor training, poor company culture and morale will get rid of a great employee. So, okay, so let's see how to, I guess your question is just how to begin training. Um, and when you say first hires don't work out well, again, that depends on training. That depends on so much. So I'm just thinking about how to answer this to be the most beneficial for you. Um, Always go into it with a positive mindset. You know, don't have in the back of your head that this isn't going to work out, because then you're putting negative energy into the situation before it's even needed, which I understand, because when I was first trying to hire all of my first people, before I even hired people, I was thinking, oh God, you know, this isn't going to work out. These people, I'm going to have to fire them. They're lazy. They're this, they're that, they're this or that. But that didn't help my energy and my mentality towards hiring these people. So, first of all, go into it like this is going to be the best hire of your life. First points of advice, go into it like this is going to be the best thing for you, the company, and everything. It may or may not work out. Unfortunately, in business, those are things that are risks, and those unfortunately are parts of in business being in business. I consider myself a great boss. Some people come in and we don't clash or we don't gel well. We end up clashing, not only just in business, but personality. I've had people that have come in and said they can do it better, and they try and then they leave and it doesn't work out. So that is a risk you're going to have to take being in business, AJ, and it sucks. I wish I could guarantee everything and everybody that I hired, because that would have made my life a hell of a lot easier, and I would probably be 10 times more, where I am now, but it is what it is. So go into it with a clear mind and a great energy about hiring this guy. And when you say how to begin training my first hire, as I said previously, I would put together a training manual, outline, and I mean, he's been with you now for 6 months. So that's great. He already has a great mindset and understanding of the job and everything. But it says here you're also looking at getting him to do some of the low value tasks. One point that I am going to say, there's no such thing as low value tasks. They're all very important to your business. But those are things, when I first hired my first right hand, I wrote a list. So I went through about 3 weeks, and every day I wrote down in my journal tasks that were taking up my time, that were better, that time would be better used doing something else. So for example, I spend a lot of my time on Zoom. You know, I do a lot of business development. I work a lot with other managers of other companies and things like that. So when I'm doing a Zoom call and I'm getting an email about an invoice, for me, it's not beneficial for me to use my time to spend 10 minutes going through statements and invoices and bank statements and whatever is needed to answer that question. So that's when I would write down things, that Samantha, my assistant, can do. So I would write down, okay, deal with invoicing issues. Um, and then when I had some time, which I understand being in business, you don't have a lot of time. When I had some time, I would write underneath it how to go about this. So the processes and systems are the most important thing. I don't know where I would be without the systems and processes I've put into place today. So I would just write down, even if it's just 3 bullet points, log into bank's account, log into invoice system, log into this, cross-reference everything and make sure that it matches. That's a process. That's how you do it. So I would start with putting together a little thing like that for all of these low value tasks that you need your new hire to do. And then I would just get him to shadow with you, come into the office if that's what it is, or just sit beside you. And when these things come up, don't get me wrong, it's going to be stressful for about 2 or 3 weeks until he understands these things. But I would get him to see it and see how you do it, and then see how it makes sense with the process that you've written down or put into Google Drive or whatever systems you use, and then get him to do it. And then double check everything that he's done. And you have to remember, majority of the things that an assistant or a right hand or these smaller tasks are doing are editable. They are fixable. So even I remember when my first assistant, she sent an email to a client that was totally wrong, wrong client, wrong job, wrong everything. And the client wrote back and went, think you have the wrong job. Doesn't look, and she was very rude about it. She goes, this doesn't look very good for the trust of your company or the organization of your company. And so we then had to, beg and plead and understand where she was coming from. And we just had to respond and say, hey, we're so sorry. There was a glitch in our system. Everything was a little messed up. We've got it resolved. Here's the correct information. And so everything's editable. It is fixable. Don't make a habit of it, but don't be so paranoid that he may screw something up, because he probably won't. And if he does, it is fixable. And I do recommend getting on this quick, because I'm sure majority of the people, Sean, Shirley, all of these great entrepreneurs in here, as myself included, don't know where we would be without our assistants or our right hands today. My assistant is my lifeline, and she's not just an assistant. She does so much. She does a lot of client things. She does a lot of tasks that I just don't have the time for, and it's well worth it. And at first I was very nervous. When I did the Zoom call with her, I was very, very, very nervous, and I put that good energy out there, and she was the best thing. So please take my advice on that. Trust the process, and trust yourself in creating the process as well. I think that's very important. And I think that you'll be okay. And because he's already been there 6 months, I think that you will be shocked at what he is actually capable of. So I look forward to hearing how that goes. Hopefully we can connect in the future and you can tell me that that worked out and he's, the next best thing than you. So I'm looking forward to hearing that. Okay, Heather, Heather from the previous with the dog grooming. So this is great. Okay, so Heather's question is, what is the best way to get ETAs, estimated time of arrivals, sent out to clients without the office setting times and adding extra stress for the groomers? So the background of this question is, the way we have things set up now, the groomers send out ETAs the evening before their shift to give a 2-hour time frame to the clients. The problem is sometimes they work late, i.e. the groomers. ETAs don't get sent and clients get pissed. I don't know the best way to establish an arrival time without infringing on the groomer's time or not accounting for traffic. And if the groomers work late, how do I get around this? Okay. Heather, I'm not sure what systems you use now, whether you're just using text messaging for communications with clients, email. I'm not sure what you're using, but if I were in your shoes, when this was happening to me, because we had so many clients and staff were running behind traffic, we live in Canada, so snow, all of those things. When it comes to the clients, again, I'm not sure if you have this in place, but if not, either add it to what you currently have for a client manual or a client expectation contract or something like that. Or if you don't have that, again, I would recommend it. But if you don't, put a little section in your client expectations, or when they become a new client. Like, we have a new client package where we send out to every new client that comes in, that is about 2 pages of things to, to pay attention for, things that, company standards, things that we do that they need to also respect. So I would put in there, a lot for a half an hour lenience time. So in hours, for example, all of our new clients, they know that they have a half an hour window. So if their contracted clean started at 9 a.m. until 1 p.m., they need to give us a half an hour window whereby, for example, they're stuck behind a snowplow, because that's a problem up here in Canada, and that's why I need to move down to the States. But needless to say, so they need to understand that there could be a half an hour wait time. So, if they're planning on letting us in at 9 o'clock and leaving out at 9:01 because they have to go to work, in our new client package, we actually recommend not doing that. So if they need to leave by 9, we need to start by 8:30, but then also expect that we could be 8:45, 8:50. And that's not necessarily a low quality or a disrespect thing. That is setting an expectation that shit happens. Sometimes people are running behind. The other day, one of my girls, she bought a brand new car. We put it through the company, so it was a company vehicle for her, but she got to choose which one she wanted. And the flippin' plastic bumper piece fell off on a brand new car. So obviously that was a problem. She was driving down the highway, it fell off. So I had to then call the client because I was in the office early, and this happened at like 7:30 a.m. So I had to call the client and say, hey, I know that we've never had to use our half an hour, lenience time, but today we're going to have to. And the client laughed and she was, oh, no problem, blah, 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 blah. But these things happen. So set that expectation with your client. So that's how I think you would deal with giving them that expectation. But then with the ETAs, I think you would need to, as management or as the owner, um, put something into place. I don't know if you guys use a system or a dashboard or anything like that for your staff, your employees, your clients. There's some great ones out there that are, you can put all of your clients in. They get reminders when it comes to, their grooming day. Like, for example, we have customized our system and created our system where all of our clients are in there, and then 24 hours before, they get a text message and an email that says, your scheduled commercial clean or residential clean or whatever, is scheduled to happen tomorrow at 9 a.m. And then underneath, please allot for a half an hour lenience time, blah, 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 blah. Click here to confirm your appointment. So there are systems out there. I don't know if you already have something like that. And I'm sure that if you do, there's something that you can utilize on there, whether it's a button or something that you can customize on there. But there's also really cheap ones out there that, are very, very, very financially sustainable, that you can use, that, are probably, $100 a month or something, that your staff will probably love because it's cool technology. It's a cool thing. Again, back to your question about them thinking that they are slave driver, or you're a slave driver, and they're, tired all of the time. How cool is it, maybe you have an iPad already at home that you can set up where they can just click a button and send a thing to the client. Like, there's so many things that you can do there. Reach out to Shirley or Sean to get in touch with me. I have some great ideas in regards to a booking system. If you don't already have one, I don't want to step on toes if you don't, but if you or if you do, but if you don't have a system, I'd be happy to help you. I have went through every system in the book to try and find. I ended up having to create my own, but there are some great ones out there that were great for us on the smaller scale, but as we grew, obviously we needed to up things. So again, reach out. I'd be happy to help you with something like that. It would probably take 10-15 minutes. Go through Sean or Shirley to connect with me, and we can discuss further about something like that. That'll probably take a lot of weight off your hands and show your team that you're trying to appreciate and value their time, which will help with your first question, I promise. Okay. Last question. I know it's almost been an hour and I'm thirsty. I could use some wine, but last question. Rosalie, I think your name is. I hope I didn't pronounce that wrong. I'm so sorry if I did. And I love this question, and I'm so glad this is the last question. So the question is, how do you get out of your own way to reach your goals in business? So her question, the background of the question is, I have a small accounting firm. I keep sabotaging myself and want to be intentional to stop the self-sabotage. Okay, there are so many things that you can do that will help you, that will work for you. And this is something I could talk about forever. Every single business owner, company owner, CEO, they all have to do things like this. I'm having a hard time right now getting out of my own head. Because the gyms are all closed up here in Canada because of our wonderful COVID. So me, going to the gym morning and evening is one way that I create clarity. When I'm working out, I do a lot of intentional meditation, affirmation. That's how I get out of my own head. I'm not sure little habits or hobbies that you have that can help you with this, but the again, oh my God, there's so many things. If I were you, I would put those goals in front of you. If you're already doing that, you need to get more clear and just keep pushing through. When I first started, I know it sounds so silly. When it was just myself, my first goal was to do $600 a week in business. So the only way I did that was I had a big piece of cardboard paper on my wall in my place. And I literally broke down my weeks into days, Monday to Friday. And I had to figure out, if I charged this much per hour, how much was I going, or how many clients would I need to make my $600 a week? And sometimes visual, it really does motivate you. And I don't know what goals you have, whether it's a number, whether it's, expansion, whether, like, I'm not sure what it is, but whatever it is, there's a solution to getting there and to helping you mentally overcome the steps to get there. Um, some of our companies that are just starting out, some of our companies that are $20 million, I'm sure Sean can attest to this. Every day there's something, right? And yesterday, for example, I was having such a bad day. We had so many fires to put out. I'm telling you this because it always happens, whether you are just starting or whether you are a very seasoned accountant, with a huge accounting firm. There's always fires to put out. I can promise you that. But it's how you overcome them. What goals do you have? Get clear on them. Don't give up. Put them in front of you, whether you have to put a chart, a reminder on your phone wallpaper, on your car rear view mirror. I used to have sticky notes there that were like, I want to get this client. So like, even back to Ashley, she was saying about, getting all those new builders. I would literally put clients that I knew that I wanted to get. So I love tennis, and I really wanted to get a commercial contract on a tennis court, like a gym, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a gym that has like 10 courts in it. And I really wanted that contract. So for like 3 months, I had this sticky note on my rearview mirror that said, get the gym court or the tennis courts, get this, get this, get this. And I just kept reminding myself, and I'd see it every day, because for the first week I was petrified. There was no way I was going to walk in there and, give them a proposal for this huge place that I'd never done before, and I really wanted it. And, I'd be like a little girl pleading for more ice cream. And eventually I saw it every day. It was in front of my face. That eventually I worked up the courage. And just like I said to Ashley, I put a proposal together, walked in there, and here we are 3 years later with that contract. So, and we've had that contract for 3 years now. So just go. When people say, oh, just get over it, I get it. It's hard. You can't. You have to mentally prepare yourself. And, I'm not going to BS you and tell you that, oh, just figure it out and you'll get there. No, you need to mentally prepare yourself for these things, whether, it's your comfort zone. everybody has different comfort zones, right? So you need to figure out what works for you, whether you have to affirm and, meditate and put those good energy thoughts into that goal that you have. And first just put it out there, meditate on it for 2 3 weeks, and then put your sticky notes, and then put your chart, and then do this, and then have, by this day I want this. I had a girlfriend that was married to a plumber, and she had bigger plans for her husband's business than he had for his own. And her energy and her manifestation and all of the affirmation that she was doing actually ended up him reaching those goals, because she put sticky notes all over the bathroom mirror. So every morning when he was brushing his teeth, he saw 10 million by May 30th, 2025, or like whatever the goal was. And so it ends up being embedded in your brain. Again, I don't know what things that you like to do or what goals you're working towards, but there's so many different ways that you can use. But I would just recommend, and for myself, and if I were in your shoes, I would put it in front of you, be reminded of it every day. And at the end of the day, it just depends on how bad you really want it. Again, that doesn't mean that you want it so bad you'd give up everything to have it, so it's going to happen tomorrow. It's not. You're going to have to work towards it. It's hard work. It's a lot of mental, hard work as well. So I'm telling you, you're going to do this. You're going to reach those goals, and I promise you, you'll get out of your own head once you figure out how to do that, and you will achieve your goals. Just like everybody on here that's asked all these questions, the fact that you're on here asking these questions means you're going to achieve your goals. I can promise you. Again, I wish I had this platform when I was first starting out. I feel like, this would have been a godsend for me. I had mentors myself, but this is just a phenomenal platform, and I totally love it. And we have great mentors and great members. So, to all of you that are participating in these mentor sessions, keep participating. You're getting advice, you're getting insight on all of these things, and it's going to help you. I can promise you that. And get involved and keep killing it. You guys are like totally amazing, and I've like really loved doing all of this, and I hope I can help some of you even further. Please reach out to Sean or Shirley if you have any questions. I'd be happy to do a brief 10-15 minutes and discuss further. I do some mentoring and coaching calls, especially in the home service business, so I'd be happy to help. But I hope these answers have helped you, or my insight has helped you. I know they're not necessarily answers, but they are experience that I've had, and we've all been there. So have a great day. It's a beautiful Friday, and well, it is up here in Canada. I'm sure it's even more beautiful down there in the States. And I hope I meet all of you in person at the summer social, or at some of Sean's events, or even again on here. So have a great day. I hope I've helped some of you, and we will talk soon. Hugs and kisses and big cheers. Have a great day, guys.